I ruined a marriage and my family for revenge. I've always been the black sheep of the family. Cousins grew up to be doctors, professors, creators, and whatever else. Meanwhile, I've managed to just make a humble, stable, passive income through some business decisions. Nothing fancy, but I can afford a 1-bedroom in NYC and live comfortably with that and a part-time job in a cafe. Sound a little bitter though. Everyone in the family, including my own parents, judged me harshly for not pushing myself to do what my cousins do, especially my one cousin we will call Randy. Think the stereotypical dude bro who got rich thanks to working for his dad. Multiply that by 10 and you got Randy. Anyway, he always gave me the most shit, and eventually I just tuned him out because I get to enjoy my life with my significant other, work part-time, and still afford what I want. So to cut the bullshit short, Randy has a wife and 2 kids. He also has a mistress. I found this out because one day when I was walking through the city, I saw him walking down the street with a woman who clearly wasn't his wife, arms around each other. I checked Facebook and saw that he had indeed posted about visiting a bagel shop in the city while on a business trip that morning, so he had indeed been in the city. So I decided, F it, let me see how this plays out. This is where I know it's about to go left. I followed them for 5 hours. Okay, see, this is that bullshit. Snapped several photos, one of them going straight into a hotel together. I held onto these and waited until Christmas that year, about 6 months later. I decided to unceremoniously drop printed photos in front of everyone at the table before dinner and made sure to get his wife to see them. Cue screaming and fighting. I actually got a black eye out of it. It was Randy's dad who did it, though not him. Q calling the police, a lot of questioning, my significant other and I get kicked out, and we head back home after talking to the cops one last time. The aftermath. Besides Randy's wife and another cousin who hates Randy, my family cut me off entirely for several years. Whatever. Even my parents had always expressed disappointment in me for not applying myself fully, so no real loss there. Randy got divorced. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. See, this is the thing. Like, some people would say you did the right thing by, telling his wife that he was cheating on her. But this is one of those times where like you did the right thing for all the wrong reasons. Like maybe they put it in your face, but you just also sound like very in general bitter. And the fact that you invested so much energy and time just trying to tear someone else's life down and ruining like your nieces and nephews' family. Like you are like, yes, that's his fault, but you still had like a big part to play in that. It's something that was none of your business. I mean, I hope it made you feel better, but I'm gonna be honest. I encourage people on the show to be the best version of themselves, and I don't think this is cool. I wouldn't invest that much energy and that much time trying to hurt somebody. It says a lot about them, but it also says a lot about you. Just saying. That's just my 2 cents.
I walked in on my boyfriend doing the dirty with his gay best friend. My boyfriend moved in with his gay best friend 6 months ago. Here's a little backstory. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years. My boyfriend is a social butterfly. He has 1,000,001 friends. I got used to this very quickly because most of them were female and a lot of them were gay. They actually became my friends too in some cases. Early on in the relationship, I met one of his best friends. Let's call him Tim. Tim is very, very gay. And he doesn't hide the fact that he thinks my boyfriend is very attractive. I asked my boyfriend if Tim ever made him feel uncomfortable, and he said no. But here's the thing. Tim sometimes says the most outlandish things about my boyfriend. Yeah, my boyfriend is hot. He's super fit, has a great face, so Timmy loves to comment on his body all the time. On several occasions, he's made really dirty jokes about my boyfriend's butt and the things that he'd like to do to my boyfriend's butt. Every time they go out, he's always trying to get my boyfriend drunk. And when he succeeds, he always takes off his shirt. So then my boyfriend spends the rest of the night shirtless. Obviously, this bothered me, but it didn't bother me enough to ever be concerned. Boy, was I wrong. A few weeks ago, Timmy threw a party and told my boyfriend not to invite me. I got really upset, so I showed up anyway. Timmy was trying to kiss my boyfriend. Part 2 is up. I walked in on my boyfriend doing the dirty with his gay best friend. I instantly knew the only reason I didn't get invited to the party was so that Tim could try to get with my boyfriend. But here's the thing. My boyfriend had so much patience for Timmy. Even though Timmy would make such perverted jokes about my boyfriend would laugh it off and tell me it wasn't a big deal. But I knew it did make him uncomfortable. But of course, I show up to the party anyway. When I got there, I found Timmy sitting on the couch with my boyfriend. My boyfriend was clearly drunk, and Timmy was trying to kiss his neck. As soon as Timmy saw me, he got up from the couch and asked me what I was doing there. He said that it was a boys-only party. When I looked around, it actually was. There were no other women there. I told Timmy that I was going to take my boyfriend home, and he said that I was overreacting and that my boyfriend was just having fun. I walk up to my boyfriend and he is so drunk, he doesn't even recognize me. I grabbed him and got him out of there. The next day, I told my boyfriend that Timmy was trying to kiss him when he was drunk. But of course, my boyfriend defended him. And my boyfriend confessed to me that he knows Timmy has a crush on him and that he's basically his best friend out of pity Then my boyfriend actually told me I needed to stop being a bitch to Timmy. Part 3 is up. Story time about how my husband keeps borrowing money from me and now wants access to my bank accounts. What should I do? Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it's not on my Instagram. My husband and I have been married for 6 years. When we first got married, we were really young, so we were living with our parents. We didn't actually move out from my parents' house up until 2 years ago. In fact, I don't think we're actually adults yet. We both still act like we're teenagers. I'm 24 and he's 25. I recently got myself a really good job. He, on the other hand, has never had a really good job. He does a lot of odd jobs here and there, a lot of catering. He also models because he's extremely good looking. So now that I got myself a job, I wanted to get my own apartment. But of course, I have to include my husband because we're married. He actually ended up getting an okay job. We decided to split the rent and everything was going fine. But then he got laid off and this is when things started going bad. He started asking me for money because he wasn't getting paid anymore. Every now and then he would ask me for like $10 or he would ask me for my debit card. At first, it was just small purchases like going to the supermarket or going to Starbucks. So I gave him my card. One day I'm checking my bank account and I realized that he bought himself a $600 watch. You'll never guess what he said when I confronted him. Part 2 is up.
Am I the asshole for not paying for the food and leaving my date stranded after she did this? My sister set me up with a friend a few weeks ago. Yesterday, I picked her up from the house and took her to a restaurant for dinner. After we finished eating, she asked the waitress to refill her glass of water. The place was packed and the waitress passed by our table multiple times. Instead of a friendly reminder, she told her if she's mentally declining, that she should be in a retirement home instead of leaving people thirsty. The poor woman looked like she was about to cry and she started apologizing to my date and then went to get the water. I was shocked, embarrassed, and angry at the same time. I told her why the F would she even think about that sentence, let alone say it out loud. I excused myself and then went to apologize to the waitress. I paid for the food I ordered, gave her a big tip, and then left. This morning, my sister called me angrily saying how much of an a-hole I was for what I did to her friend. Apparently, after I left, the manager threatened to call the cops if she didn't pay. She had to call her father to send her money for the dinner and the ride back home. I tried to explain to my sister what her friend did, but she wasn't interested in taking my side. She told me since I picked her up from her place and since it was my turn paying for the date, I should have just did so and drove her back home or gave her money for a taxi. I wasn't interested in arguing with her, so I said I'll send the money to give to her friend and told her that I hope God has mercy on both of their future boyfriends. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole? So again, like usual, look, I think she deserved it, but I think that you also had an opportunity to be a better version of yourself. Because this is the thing, you aren't going to teach her a lesson by doing that. She's still going to be probably a terrible person way long after you leave. But by you being a gentleman, you take stress out of your life. And look, I want to be completely clear. When I tell you to be the best version of yourself in every situation, it's not just because I'm on some hippie shit, love the world, positive vibe, like I'm on that, but also it's because I think it's genuinely the best way to go through life without having to deal with extra bullshit. What do I mean? If you had stayed, paid for the date, took the young lady home that you picked up, and just went on about your life, you wouldn't have to keep talking to her after that. You wouldn't be writing messages to the internet after that. You wouldn't even have to be thinking about this ever again. But now she's taking your time, energy, and now all kind of bullshit that's come from it would have been a whole lot easier just to keep being the best version of yourself. But at the end of the day, I don't blame you, and I'm not gonna call you the a-hole. She had it coming, and yeah, I probably would do the same thing.
Am I the asshole for using a spray bottle to train my nephew? My nephew is a rainbow baby. My sister had a lot of trouble conceiving and he was kind of a miracle. She was 42 when she finally managed to give birth and she was on bed rest for the last 3 months of her pregnancy. My nephew is now 6 and while I love him, he is a monster. And he has a nasty habit of throwing tantrums when he doesn't get his way. He screams if he's losing a game and refuses to understand why he can't ride my 7-year-old Saint Bernard. Also, he thinks any food is his. My sister was visiting and my nephew was running around like a squirrel. He tripped and started crying, so my sister picked him up. He saw the cookie container on the counter and started asking for some, but I said no, those were special cookies for his uncle. I offered him a regular cookie or some fruit, but he got upset that he was being denied. My sister then asked if he could please have a cookie, and I relented and gave him one. Am I the asshole for using a spray bottle to train my nephew? I was a little upset that I had to give him my husband's cookie. A little while later, he came back and asked for another cookie. I said no. My sister said to just give him one, and I told her no, he wasted the last one. He started screaming that he wanted a cookie, and I stood my ground, and eventually he went away. Next time, he didn't even ask, just went for the container. I grabbed the spray bottle that I used to keep the cats off the counter and gave him a couple of squirts and said no. He got startled and ran away, and my sister said her son isn't an animal to be reprimanded with. Well, the next time he came into the kitchen, I put my hand on the spray bottle and he didn't even look back at the counter and went away. My sister called my parents to tell on me for treating her kid like that. Now they're mad at me for not giving in to the poor baby. So I'm just wondering, am I the asshole?